Hey there, so glad you're here. This is Reddit Stories Podcast. Relax, you're safe here. Here's our first story. Karen accused me of cutting the line at Disneyland, but the cast member proved her wrong in front of everyone. So we just got home from a week at Disneyland, and I had to share what happened on our last day because it still feels unreal. Crowds were decent, cast members were amazing, and we finally got to go during Halloween time, which has been on my bucket list for years. For context, I'm the most let it go person you'll ever meet. Someone cuts me off in traffic? Whatever. Someone takes the seat I've been eyeing. I just find another. I avoid confrontation so hard, I could probably qualify for an Olympic medal. But this time, I didn't. It was our first time ever going during Halloween season, and we wanted to end the trip on a high note. My mom's one wish was to meet Jack Skellington and take a family picture. It sounds simple, but with a baby, nieces, and nephews, it was a whole operation. We'd missed him twice earlier in the trip. Once because the line closed right before we got there, and once because one of the kids needed a bathroom break at the worst possible time. By Wednesday, our last full day, I was determined. After our third back-to-back ride on Pirates, yes, my family loves that ride that much, I saw in the app that Jack was coming out for a meet and greet in about 20 minutes. My baby was asleep in the stroller like a tiny angel, and for once, everything lined up perfectly. I called my mom, who was all the way over in Toontown with the others, and told her to start walking over. I knew it would take them a while with the kids, so I said I'd hold a spot. When I got to the area behind Pirates, there was a small line forming near a column. I asked a cast member, I'll call her Abby, if this was the right place, and if I could wait while my family caught up. She smiled and said yes. Totally fine, as long as someone stayed in line. She told me to park my stroller along the fence to keep the area clear, so I tucked it away, grabbed my sleeping baby, and stepped in line. At first, there were 2 women ahead of me chatting with Abby. She estimated about a 30-minute wait. Perfect. That gave my family time to get there. I was mentally patting myself on the back for having the timing work out for once. A woman with a double stroller walked up not long after. Abby gave her the same instructions about stroller parking. An older guy joined the line too, and Karen, double stroller lady, got in behind him. I remember thinking, good, now I'm not dead last in line. I was extra aware of who was around me because I knew I'd have to describe where I was when my mom called for directions. A few minutes later, the 2 women ahead of me left. I stepped forward into their spot, now right behind a family of 3. Dad, mom, middle school-age daughter. The line wrapped around the column, so I FaceTimed my mom to help her figure out where to go. I turned my back for a minute while pointing out landmarks for her to follow. The pirate band, the bridge, the churro cart. When I hung up, I was still right where I had been, behind the family of 3. Then, out of nowhere, I heard, "Excuse me, were you even in line? Because I don't remember seeing you there." Karen. She was 2 spots behind me, calling me out loud enough for people to start turning their heads. She even asked the older man behind me if he had seen me standing there. He just shrugged like, "Leave me out of this. I just want my photo." I said calmly that yes, I had been there the whole time. She didn't look convinced, but didn't push it too far. Yet. My sister Jay arrived a few minutes later, and I told her what had happened. We kind of laughed it off. I mean, who has the energy to argue at Disneyland when all we want to do is take a picture? Apparently, Karen did. She came back with another cast member, I'll call her Tracy, and loudly told her that I had cut the line. She pointed right at me like she was about to present Exhibit A in court. Before I could even respond, Jay jumped in. She told Tracy that Abby had approved me holding a spot and that I had not cut. Tracy asked me to step aside for a second while they figured it out. Jay immediately said no. She told Tracy that even if we weren't allowed to have the rest of the family join later, I wasn't moving from my current place in line. By now, the people around us were obviously listening. The family of 3 in front of me kept turning around, whispering to each other. I could hear enough Spanish to know that they didn't think I had been there before. My mom texted that she was close but couldn't see us, so I called her back to guide her in. I asked my 9-year-old niece to stand next to me because by now I felt like I was on display. I spoke to my mom in Spanish, loud enough for the people nearby to hear, and said I'd talk to the original cast member once we got to the front because she knew I'd been waiting. The nosy family kept looking back. My niece squeezed my arm and whispered that everyone was staring at us. I told her to just ignore it. Finally, we were at the very front. I could see Abby again, and I felt this weird relief, like, okay, here we go. I leaned over and asked if she remembered me from earlier. She smiled and said yes, and reminded me that once I got up to the door, my family could come forward. The mom from the family in front immediately jumped in to say I hadn't been behind them before. Karen chimed in again, saying I had skipped. Abby shut it down right there. She said, very clearly, that she had personally walked me to the line and that I had been standing there for the last 30 minutes. That was it. The family in front went quiet. Karen stopped talking. Even Tracy backed off. Abby repeated it again, slower this time, just to make sure everyone heard. I can't lie, that felt amazing. Abby even leaned down to coo at my baby, who had just woken up, and said how perfect the timing was to meet Jack. That little moment almost made me tear up, because it was so normal after all the staring. I waved my mom over. She arrived looking flustered but relieved. My sister stepped aside so she could join me, and soon the rest of the family was there too. When it was our turn, we went in. Jack was amazing with the kids, and we got our pictures. As we walked away, I thanked Abby again and told her how much I appreciated her. I wish I had caught her real name. If anyone reading this knows the nice woman who works the Jack Skellington line and wears her hair in a braid, please thank her for me. I know this might not sound huge, but for me, it was a big deal. I normally avoid this kind of confrontation at all costs. This time, I stood my ground and didn't let anyone push me out of my spot. And it felt really, really good. Go Abby. If you don't know, you can always leave a cast compliment on the app for her. When you leave a compliment, it asks to describe where you were, so it gets credited to the right employee. Please do. People usually contact corporate to complain, so it's extra special to call or submit that an employee was exemplary. Please give her kudos. Honestly, I'd leave a note about Tracy too. Disney cast members aren't supposed to side with one guest against another unless they actually saw what happened. Jumping in to tell you to step aside without checking with Abby first was way out of line. Abby handled it perfectly. Tracy shouldn't be making guests feel like they're in trouble for following the rules. The part that frustrated me the most was that older guy behind you just shrugging. He could have ended the whole thing by saying, "Yeah, she's been waiting." Silent bystanders make situations so much worse. Sometimes just backing someone up is all it takes to keep things from blowing up. Imagine getting called out by a stranger and the cast member themselves says, "Nope, she's been here the whole time." That's the Disney equivalent of a mic drop. Abby just speed ran, becoming OP's favorite person in the park. And somewhere, Karen is still standing there, waiting for someone to back her up. Real estate agent and friend won't let me see my dream home. I never thought buying a house would turn into this much drama, but here we are. I've been house hunting for a while, and one of my close friends, entitled friend, works as a real estate agent. Since we were friends and I trusted him, I signed an exclusive buyer's agent agreement with him. It felt like the right thing to do to keep the business in the circle, support my friend, and have someone I know looking out for me. Fast forward to last week. A house popped up on the market that was basically everything I've been dreaming of. Perfect location, perfect size, right in my budget. It was so perfect, I almost wanted to put an offer in without even seeing it, but obviously I wanted to do things properly. When I brought it up to my friend, I expected him to be as excited as I was. Instead, he completely shut me down. He told me he wouldn't show me the house, that I shouldn't even be considering it. When I pressed him, he finally admitted that the listing agent is his ex. I knew that already. I've met the ex a couple of times, never liked him much, but it's not like I'm the one dating him. My agent friend said it would be too complicated and not worth the drama. That's when I realized we had a problem. I reminded him that this was a business relationship and that he was supposed to be representing my interests, not prioritizing who he does or doesn't want to deal with. He brushed me off. The more I thought about it, the more wrong it felt. I signed a contract trusting him to help me buy a house, not to filter listings based on his personal feelings. It feels like a huge breach of trust, and not just as a friend, but professionally. So now I'm stuck. I technically have a contract with him. Can I break it? Should I get another agent entirely? How do I handle this without burning the friendship to the ground? Part of me feels like maybe I'm overreacting, but the other part of me is screaming that this might be my dream home, and I'm being blocked for reasons that have nothing to do with me. Tell him he has 3 choices. A. Get over it and show you the house. B. Release you from the buyer's agreement. C. Sit down with his broker and discuss how he and his firm are now in breach of contract for failing to fulfill their duty to you. This isn't about friendship anymore. It's about you potentially losing out on the home you want because of someone else's baggage. He's not putting your friendship first. He's putting his petty ex-drama first. That's not what a professional does. Fire him as your agent and as your friend if you have to. If he gets petty about it, report him to the licensing board. Honestly, just find another agent and go see the house. It's your future on the line. If he can't separate personal life from professional obligations, that's on him. Update. After reading everyone's advice, I slept on it, then sent my agent friend a short, polite email ending our contract effective immediately. I kept it professional and didn't bring up the friendship side of things. If he's actually my friend, he'll respect that this is what I need to do. If he doesn't, then maybe the friendship wasn't what I thought it was. He did not take it well. He sent me a condescending message saying I would regret my decision. He never responded to the part of my email where I said I valued our friendship. At that point, I felt more relief than guilt. The next day, I went to the open house. The house was everything I imagined and more. Perfect size, perfect layout, perfect everything. I was practically walking on air looking through it. And then I saw the listing agent, my ex-friend's ex. I didn't really care. I just said hello and kept things civil. Then he asked me why my ex-friend wasn't representing me. I told him we had parted ways, and that's when he dropped the bomb. He casually said, "Oh, because of his sister's offer?" I asked him what he meant, and he explained that ex-friend had asked for a private viewing with his sister as soon as the house hit the market. His sister and her husband apparently loved the house, but made a very low offer. When the listing agent told them it wouldn't work, ex-friend argued that the house wouldn't sell at asking price. I wanted to scream. My so-called friend not only refused to show me my dream house, he actively tried to help his sister buy it under asking price, knowing full well that I was pre-approved and ready to make a competitive offer. After the open house, I stayed and had a long conversation with the listing agent. Hearing his side of things made so many puzzle pieces click into place. Suddenly, all of ex-friend's past drama stories about his breakup sounded like half-truths or full-on lies. I can't believe I considered this person a friend. I trusted him with one of the biggest decisions of my life, and he tried to keep me from the perfect home so his sister could get it cheaper. I've already talked to a new broker, and I'm preparing to put in an offer. The listing agent even told me there's a way to do it so my ex-agent doesn't get any commission at all, which honestly feels like the only fair outcome at this point. I've also consulted with a lawyer, not because I want money from ex-friend, but because I want to make sure he can't pull this on anyone else. The lawyer will help me file a complaint with the state licensing board. I've learned some big lessons from this. Don't mix business with friendship. Don't work with someone I can't fire. Don't assume that just because someone is my friend, they'll automatically act in my best interest. An unethical real estate agent. Shocking, I know. You're right though. This is exactly the kind of thing licensing boards exist for. It may not be lawsuit material, but it's definitely complaint material. This guy was never really your friend. A real friend would have been excited to help you get your dream house, not try to sabotage it so his sister could swoop in with a lowball offer. Good riddance. Imagine trusting your friend to help you buy a house and finding out he tried to help his sister lowball you out of it. That's not a friend. That's a saboteur with a real estate license. Am I the jerk for refusing to lend my brother money after he mocked me for years about my job? I, 34 male, work in IT. I've been in the field for over a decade, slowly working my way up from help desk to where I am now. It's not glamorous, but it's stable. I've got a solid job, a good salary, and benefits that keep me comfortable. I live within my means, and I've been able to build savings, which I'm proud of. My older brother, who's 36, has always taken the opposite path. He went into sales straight out of school. He makes a big deal about being a people person and having natural charisma, and for years, he's made consistent digs at me for my career. Family dinners, birthdays, holidays, it didn't matter. He always had a new joke. If someone's phone froze, he'd laugh and say, "Don't forget to reboot it. That's what my brother would say." If I brought up a project at work, he'd cut in with, "Wow, sounds like thrilling basement work." At Christmas, when my mom asked how things were going, he told her, still fixing printers and resetting passwords." Everyone would laugh awkwardly. I'd brush it off, but it got old fast. The thing is, while he was making fun of me, his own life looked shiny on the outside, but wasn't stable underneath. He always talked about his big commissions, about fancy dinners with clients, about his expensive car lease. He made fun of me for driving a boring sedan and not living it up. Fast forward to last week. Out of nowhere, he calls me up. He didn't waste time with small talk. He said he needed to borrow $8,000 because his commission structure had changed and he was behind on rent. He acted like this was a temporary bump and that he'd pay me back as soon as things picked up again. I told him no. He got angry and said, "Come on, you earn plenty. Don't be a jerk. I wouldn't even ask if I wasn't desperate." That's when I reminded him that he had spent years mocking me for the exact career that now makes me financially stable. He didn't have much to say then. He just told me I was being selfish and hung up. A few hours later, my mom called. She was furious that I wouldn't help family in need. She told me I was holding a grudge over childish teasing and that I should be the bigger person. She said he was struggling and I had the means to help, so why wouldn't I? I told her I didn't owe him money just because we share DNA. I don't mind helping people in genuine need, but it felt impossible to get past the fact that he only respects me when he wants my money. So here I am. I know saying no was the right move for me, but my family's making me feel like I'm a villain. Am I the jerk for refusing to lend my brother money after years of being mocked? Not the jerk. He disrespected you for years, and now he wants the benefits of the stability you built. Helping family is great when there's mutual respect, but you're not his personal bailout fund. Not the jerk. Your mom is wrong here. He didn't just tease you, he belittled your entire career path. Now the career he looked down on is the one saving you, while his glamorous sales job is crashing. That's not irony, that's karma. Update. The day after my post, my brother showed up at my apartment. He didn't call first, just knocked on my door looking stressed and tired. He asked if I'd reconsider. He said things were worse than he let on. His landlord had already sent him a notice, and if he didn't pay up, he'd be out. I told him I was sorry for his situation, but I wasn't giving him money. I offered to help him in other ways, like going over his finances, helping him set up a budget, even helping him apply for a short-term loan or side gigs. He didn't want to hear any of that. He said I was choosing revenge over family and stormed off. That night, I got another round of calls from my mom. She said my brother had told her I laughed in his face and refused to help. That wasn't true. I explained my side, but she still took his. According to her, brothers are supposed to help each other no matter what, and she didn't care what jokes he had made in the past. She even brought up childhood stuff, like how he used to give me his old toys, as if that meant I owed him a financial lifeline now. Then things took an even stronger turn. My brother's girlfriend messaged me privately. She apologized for reaching out, but said she wanted me to know what was really going on. Apparently, my brother had blown a ton of money over the last year on luxury stuff, bottle services, clothes, expensive gadgets, and trips with his friends. When his commission pay dropped, he had nothing saved, and that's why he was in trouble. She said she was tired of bailing him out, and that's why he was turning to me. That was the confirmation I needed. This wasn't about helping him through a rough patch. This was about him refusing to change his lifestyle and expecting someone else to keep funding it. I sent my mom a long message explaining all of this. I told her I wasn't cutting him off as a brother, but I wasn't going to enable his spending. I reminded her that he mocked me for years for being boring with my steady job, Yet, my boring habits are exactly what let me live comfortably without asking others for thousands of dollars. I haven't heard from my brother since. My mom is still cold with me, but she hasn't brought it up again. I think she knows the truth now, even if she doesn't want to admit it. So no, I don't feel like the jerk anymore. I feel like I finally stood up for myself. If he wants respect, he needs to start giving it. Not the jerk. He doesn't want help, he wants a bailout. Offering to help him budget and find solutions was generous. He rejected that because he only wanted cash. That says it all. Sounds like he wanted to use you the same way he's been using his girlfriend. Good on her for speaking up, and good on you for holding your boundaries. Family loyalty doesn't mean funding someone else's bad choices. Your mom is letting her emotions get the best of her, but you're not wrong for refusing. Protect your peace. My commission structure changed. It's just a fancy way of saying, I partied my savings away. Yeah, and now he wants a family-funded bailout. Am I the jerk for how I feel about my wife's creepy hobby project? Okay, this sounds insane, but I swear my wife is totally normal otherwise, which makes this so strange to me. For context, we're both in our late 30s and live in a pretty typical suburban neighborhood where we all know each other. My wife has always loved trashy movies and shows about infidelities, and she devours true crime. She says something about it makes her morbidly fascinated, in her words. A couple of months ago, we had a scandal in our neighborhood where a married couple divorced because the husband cheated. It wasn't too crazy or anything, but my wife became obsessed with learning every detail from every neighbor. No matter the occasion, be it a baby shower or a cookout, she would bring it up, hoping there would be more new information. A month later, I stumbled upon the board in her home office. I was doing some cleaning and I found a massive bulletin board leaning against her wall. Curiosity got the better of me and I turned it around to find a literal conspiracy board of all of our neighbors' pictures with lines of yarn connecting them. I was totally confused and I asked her what this was. She told me it was a hobby that she had started recently where she would track rumors or likely candidates for cheating on the board. The yarn represented who was possibly cheating with whom. She had clearly gotten all of the images from Facebook or other social media, printed them out, and even had a few sticky notes with details. I told her this was creepy and insane, and she said maybe if I were doing it as a man, but she was just having harmless fun as a hobby. She wouldn't be crazy and try to oust anyone based on rumors. She just liked feeling like a detective. She told me to view it as a creative art piece. I was still super weirded out, but I tried to let it go. I thought about it a lot. Well, every now and then, I admit to checking the board when cleaning, but just a couple of days ago, I saw that now I was on the board with a yarn attached to a neighbor's wife I'm casually friends with. I asked her why she added me and if she thought I was cheating, and she said that was a different yarn color for potential matches for cheating. She said if it made me feel better, she was planning on adding herself to the board soon. I got upset and lost my temper. I told her to get rid of the board or our marriage would be in trouble. Things have been super rocky since. I'm starting to feel bad now, and it hit me more than usual this morning. Should I apologize to her? And before you ask, no, I don't suspect her of cheating. Honestly, I wish she was, because it would at least make more sense than this. Am I the jerk? Update. I have now approached her, and I told her that while I may have overreacted by threatening our marriage, I think it is a creepy thing to do. She apologized and said she would get rid of the board. I thought we were good. Literally 2 days later, crap hits the fan. Our happily married next-door neighbor finds a woman's clothes under her bed that don't belong to her. It doesn't take long for the whole neighborhood to find out. Well, my wife is giddy, like jumping up and down for joy. She shows me the board, which she still didn't throw away like she promised she would, and of course, the husband was marked with yarn, meaning he was likely to cheat. She told me the board was accurate after all, and maybe she should keep her hobby around. I was definitely suspicious, so I looked at the board again later. It looked different from the last time I saw it before the latest scandal. Instead of the yarn connecting to another neighbor, the cheating husband's yarn connected to a post-it with a question mark. Firstly, it was the only question mark there, and I swore it wasn't there the last time I saw the board. So either she changed it after the cheating to prove a point or slightly before it happened, which made me even more suspicious either way. Now I felt like I was the detective and I was going crazy. I went over to the cheating husbands to ask a few questions. The wife was staying at her parents', so it was just the two of us. I asked him if he actually did it, and he said no, he never would. Then I asked if my wife had been over recently. He said that one day, while I was at work, his wife asked my wife to water a plant they had while they were both away, and told her where the key was, so yes. I immediately raised an eyebrow. I asked if he still had the clothes, and he was getting nervous and told me not to get the wrong idea. I said, don't worry. He still had the clothes, and I looked at him. It was my wife's, but something I knew that she never wore because it was from something I bought her for Christmas one time that she said was too uncomfortable. I told my neighbor I needed to talk to my wife, and I ran out, but I told him not to worry. I approached her with the clothes, and I asked her what was going on. She played dumb, but I told her to cut the BS. I asked if she had either cheated on me with him or planted it there. Either way, she was in trouble. She confessed to planting it there and said it was to make me admit her hobby was valid or something like that. I flipped on her. I said this was worse than her cheating on me because instead of just ruining our marriage, she ruined our neighbor's marriage and ours. I demanded she call the wife and admit to everything, even sending pictures of the board. I even showed the Reddit post, which actually helped convince her my wife had planted it rather than cheated with her husband. Well, they made up, but now I have no idea what to do. I'm barely speaking to my wife, and it's only a matter of time before the entire neighborhood figures this out. I seriously need advice. Dude, once this gets out, you and your wife are going to be ostracized from the community. Like, this is awful for your marriage, and something is seriously wrong with her, but the fallout from this is going to be massive. I paid to have my grass cut while I was out of town, and the landscaper stole my lawnmower. I used a third-party service that hires local landscapers for temporary needs. I had never had an issue until I returned and went outside to cut my own grass, only to find my lawnmower missing. I usually keep it on the back porch. I reviewed the cameras, and I was amazed to see that the hired landscaper stole my new lawnmower, which I had used only a couple of times, and tried to push it through the neighbor's yard. He apparently didn't realize the camera had a wide view. The third-party service confirmed it was theft, and now I have to deal with the police to track down the landscaper and get my mower back. In the video, you can see a man with a leaf blower walking around the yard. He then approaches my lawnmower and drags it away to his car. The lawn service said that if it's theft, it has to be filed with a police report. They refunded the service, but everything else must be handled through the police now. Update 1 hour later. The third-party service gave me direct contact with the landscaper. His excuse was that he thought the lawnmower was broken and took it off my hands because he assumed it was broken since I called them. Now he's claiming someone stole his trailer, which had the lawnmower in it. I'm talking to the sheriff and filing a report. The sheriff says it's felony theft because the amount is over $500. He's giving the landscaper 24 hours to either return the lawnmower or pay the full amount. If not, a warrant will be issued. Small-town sheriffs are serious. Now I've posted it on Nextdoor, and someone privately messaged me saying they know the landscaper's mother and sister and will contact them. They also provided his Instagram page. Update 3. Someone posted the video on Facebook from Nextdoor, and now people who know him are making fun of him since he goes by a different persona on social media, where he claims to be a professional self-made influencer, and they're tagging him in the post. I didn't want to dox the guy, I just wanted my lawnmower back. His mother reached out and asked me to take down the videos and posts because it's hurting her son's business and reputation. I let her know my next steps, and it's not her responsibility to fix her son's mistakes. I sent her the receipt so she can forward it to him as he has 23 hours left before a warrant is issued. 2 hours later. He has deactivated all of his social media as all of his tags are grayed out. It's 9:47 p.m. here. I will call him at 7 a.m. for an update on what he plans to do. I honestly have no faith in this whole situation. Update the next day. I woke up to 36 unknown missed calls from 1 to 4 a.m. Thank goodness for sleep focus and silencing unknown callers. I called him back and my phone goes straight to voicemail, but I used my Google Voice number and his number rings. He blocked me from contact when all I'm trying to do is retrieve my mower. I also contacted his mother, who seems to have had a change of heart. She tried calling him, but he didn't answer. She said, "Do what you've got to do." Is he trying to flee over a lawnmower? I'll try again in a few hours. This is starting to really frustrate me. A few hours later, I finally managed to contact him through his sister. He claims he doesn't have $579 to pay for a new lawnmower and asked if I could tell the sheriff to give him 2 weeks to come up with the funds. I told him it's not my issue. If you're a business owner, you should have some type of credit card or account. He's so desperate that he even offered to cut my grass for free to make up for it. This undeniably admits his guilt to theft. I rarely go in the backyard unless cutting my grass or barbecuing, and my lawnmower was missing for almost a week. I told him he better borrow or ask his family, because I'm not budging on pressing charges and following through with the sheriff. He has exactly 9 hours and counting. 5 hours later, the sheriff sent a deputy to my house to survey the area, take my statement, and get documents from both Lawn Starter and the company that contracted the landscaper. The deputy said they found a record of him in another county for theft. They're moving forward with a warrant. I can't feel sorry for this guy. He made this bed, now he has to lie in it. I just received a text from the guy from another number. This dude is really doubling down on his idiocy. I'm just going to forward this to the sheriff. This is what the text said. Hey man, this is Deshaun. You posted a video of me moving your lawnmower. I didn't take the lawnmower with bad intentions. I thought it didn't work and was going to do you a favor. I have plenty of customers who ask me to haul their old equipment all the time. I tried starting the lawnmower and it didn't even fire up. I'm not going to pay you for something you left abandoned in your yard. That's on you, not me. As for the sheriff contacting me, I have a great attorney who will make sure this issue is resolved. You act like this is a downfall, but through all this, I shall come up. I'll keep making money and doing great because God got me and my family. You stay blessed. 2 hours later, Deshaun has gone off the deep end. I think it's best to cease all communication. It's so bad I sent the messages to his mom and sister. He needs genuine help. Here's what he said this time. You think this is some type of joke, bruh? I'm not worried about you or the police. This is a little game to me. People like you want to tarnish your own people from being successful. You'll never understand the hustle and the grind I do. I do this every day. I could buy 10 lawnmowers if I wanted to. Cheap lawnmower. What, you can't even afford a John Deere or a Cub Cadet like a real man like me? You're a clown and will always be a clown. In the meantime, I'm going to purchase a new lawnmower, this time electric, so I can keep it in the house. 2 days later, the sheriff contacted me and said the warrant is live. If his license plate is read by a plate reader, or if an officer runs his plates after a stop, he'll be arrested. They don't have an active address for him except for his mother's address. I'm extremely satisfied with the sheriff's department's response to this. Honestly, I don't know if I should forward this to his mother or not. A good friend of mine, who's a corporate lawyer, reviewed the terms of Lawn Starter and said that this is a great case for a lawsuit. He offered to handle it pro bono. He believes that there's a good chance they won't fight it and will settle out of court. What happens when an entitled Karen tries to kiss OP's boyfriend for a TikTok challenge? Somehow they're trying to paint OP as the bad guy. Find out in our next video. It just popped up on your screen, so give it a tap with your thumb or a click with your remote, and Karen and I will be right there waiting for you.